lost a lot of leadership on the defensive side of the ball. How has that challenged you to kind of step up and be, one of those voices in the locker room?
I wouldn't call it a challenge. Just got to go be the leader that I am. I just feel like if you're a leader, it's in you, and so it's not just myself. We got several other guys who are gonna be help leading this defense this year, and so for me, I'm just do the best that I can to fulfill my role.
I think it's similar to maybe what you were just talking about. I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of it. Just last year when the team didn't make the playoffs for the first time in a few years, there was talk from some players about maybe, I don't know, if work ethic is too strong a word, but culture. Are you noticing a concerted effort to kind of, I know you can't just like snap your fingers, but different things this off season so far?
Yeah, and I'll just start with myself. I'm noticing for myself that being more consistent and showing up every day, and I feel like as a leader, you got to be the example. And I think the young guys, all the young guys that we got in, they'll follow behind that. Like I told him, it's not just myself that's helped leading the charge. We got several guys, and so honestly, I feel with us leading the charge and making that change or whatever you want to say, I think a lot of the young guys that have come in, they went to work immediately. Which ultimately has kind of changed the people want to say the work ethic around the team or whatever to our benefit. So I'm excited for this upcoming year.
Speaking of leaders, to see 10 out there, even though he can't catch balls, to see him out there running around and running his mouth a little bit to you guys on defense. What does it say about him as a teammate?
Yeah, it just says he'll talk when he's not practicing, but when he practices, not too much talk. Nah, just playing. Nah, we his presence is big. I think a lot of the stuff in the media gets misconstrued with him. Never any problems with him in the building. Always been a great leader since I've been here. Obviously, everybody knows him as a great player, and so just to have him out there is important for the young guys. Just to have his presence, him coming over talking to the defense is huge.
Do you think that moment at the end of the season last year hit him when he realized that if I'm gonna be a leader, I got to be here, even though he can't participate fully?
I don't know. That's something you got to ask him. I don't know, honestly. I don't know.
Jordyn, how did that go through with the rest of the team after he said that? And then I understand that I guess he talked to you guys at some point. How did that moment go across with the team?
I don't know. It was at the end of the season. Everybody kind of just went home after that, so I don't know how everybody else felt about it. And so, yeah.
You mentioned reports about him are misconstrued. What do people not understand about Tyreek Hill?
That he's a human, and most of the people who's pointing the finger, they themselves have had those moments. But it's just easier to point it at him because all the cameras on him, and he's a famous football player. Makes a lot of plays, so it's easy to say, hey, he's the bad guy because he's had a moment of weakness. But like I said, he shows up here every day with great energy, smiling all the time, cracking jokes, and helping young guys whenever he can, whenever they ask questions. So that's the view that I have of him. So I think he's a great teammate.
Jordyn, Coach Weaver talked a little bit about Tyrell Dodson's ownership of the defense coming back here in the second year. I'm just curious from your perspective what you've seen from how he's taken ownership of the defense in the middle of the season.
Yeah, just you got to be that as a linebacker. You got to take ownership, and him having a green dot, you got to be able to communicate. You got to know what everybody's doing, and so from that standpoint, he's been great, getting everybody lined up, and just being more comfortable communicating for everybody.
I think he's the one that you've played the most ball with so far, playing a half a season with KJ Britt and now Willie Gay here. What have you seen from the rest of that room in terms of how you play well with those guys?
Great guys, super funny. I love the energy that they bring, and they bring a lot of experience. That both of those guys played a lot of ball, played good football, and so I think they bring experience in the building, and they also they make the room more competitive. Those aren't just just slappies running around, man. Those guys that can play in this league, and so I think they make the room a lot more competitive, and they bring great energy in.
How interested are you in seeing how the back end of your defense fills out? A lot of new faces back there.
I'm excited. I feel like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of fans always want you to bring the big name free agent in, go draft the high first round draft pick or whatever. But we got a lot of guys that's hungry, and I think that sometimes works out better when you got guys that's ready to prove themselves, from young guys into older vets. So I think the competition is going to be great.
One of the themes from coaches and players alike is the second year of the defense and the continuity with that. how would you measure where the defense is today in terms of just knowing what you're installing versus where you were this time last year?
Yeah, so last year it was more so learning the playbook and kind of taking it slow and kind of holding your hand through OTAs. This year is just fine tuning. We know what it is, and it's fine tuning, getting better at the things that we weren't great at last year, and that's things that we're trying to emphasize right now.